Ooh, welcome back to the Boneyard Podcast, everybody. This is your host, Jared Sheffield, along with my good friend
Artemis Brower.
We're coming to you this week with episode 230.
230.
Holy shit.
We climbing, man. We climbing.
230, man. If I asked you back on our first episode ever came out March 8th, 2020, right before COVID. If I asked you on March 8th, 2020, hey man, in just about 5 years, do you think we will we'll be at episode 230?
I didn't think we were going to get to 50 of these things, to be honest with you, let alone be doing this for 5 years. We're going on 5 years, Jared. Like
5 years that I have to sit here every week and look at your ugly mug.
Hey, look, if you didn't love it, you wouldn't be doing it. I don't want to hear
that. No, you know I love you, man. But no, episode 230. Every time we hit that like extra 10, I'm like, okay, we're 10 down, like 10 more, and it always feels big when you have a 0 at the end of the episode number.
It does.
So cool, man. Episode 230 of the Boneyard Podcast. Already not much going on in the world of sports. This past weekend was kind of light. Other than I mean, I know the group chat was popping off with my take on USA Canada. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But how's it been? How are you?
I'm good, man. Life is good. Enjoying the luxuries of life right now. Working hard, trying to maintain. You know what it is, same old, same old. So we're doing our thing. What about you?
We're good, man. Got a sick kid, and other than that, we're good. Short week at work this week, but yeah, I'm trying. It feels like today should be Wednesday, and I'm all discombobulated.
Right.
But other than that, man, we're good. We're good. I'm hoping to start playing some more golf as things start getting warmer. It's crazy to say after 2 days of snow here in the Carolinas, but let's get into it, Artie. Let's just dive right in.
So,
it's gonna be a shorter episode this week. There's some travel and also like I said, a sick kid that's being dealt with. So we're gonna keep it short. Not a whole lot to talk about. But Artie, episode 230. Do you have a number 30 for me?
I do have a number 30. This name is kind of chalk. I just, just off the radar. Didn't have nothing else. Just how I had to go with it. It's not Steph Curry. That's not my 30 for the week. That's too chalk. But none other than one Terrell Davis, NFL Pro Football Hall of Famer, with a number 30 for the Denver Broncos. Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion, obviously, 3-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team All-Pro, one of the best running backs in the history of the league, with almost 8,000 rushing yards. So my 30 for the week, none other than Terrell Davis, Denver Broncos legend.
That's a good one. There's plenty of 30s that I feel like I could pick from.
It's a lot. It's an obscure number that you wouldn't think would have that many like famous players, but
it's the number 30 in the sport of hockey is more so it's a goalie number, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of goalie legends have worn that number. I mean, really, like Ed Balfour wore 30, Martin Brodeur wore 30. I mean, a lot of 30s and 31s in the goaltender ranks in the NHL, and the one I'm going to go with is Martin Brodeur. I mean, growing up, now I'm the guy that says no, you can't have two teams. But growing up, I'll be honest, my number 2 team was the New Jersey Devils. I loved.
Wow, I would have never guessed that. I would have never guessed Jared being a Devils fan.
No, it wasn't like if they played the Hurricanes, I was of course pulling for the Hurricanes.
Right.
But growing up, I mean, their throwback jerseys, Artie, the red and the green are absolute fire. Like red, like Christmas colors.
Yeah.
The green pants with the red jersey. I absolutely loved playing like NHL 2007 and throwing on those throwback jerseys on the PS2. So I'm gonna go Martin Brodeur. I mean, arguably one of the greatest goalies, if not the greatest goalie of all time. In my opinion, I mean, there's some debate to be had there, but he wore the number 30, and that's I mean, Hall of Famer. I think 2-time Stanley Cup champ. Yeah, Martin Brodeur. What up, Josh?
Just want to throw in a quick 30, just a quick one. Todd Gurley.
Oh, that's
local legend.
Career over way too early. Too early. But Todd Gurley would definitely have to be my number 30.
I thought Todd was going to be a Hall of Fame running back the way he started. I really did. He came out the gates.
I mean, honestly, like, yeah, the numbers might not say it, but 3 Pro Bowls, 2 first team All Pros.
Like
his
first 5 years.
I mean, honestly, you could. I can still see someone making the case for him being in the Hall of Fame, just off the case of like, well, I mean, he had everything he needed. It just didn't pan out. But
that's a good one, though. That's a
local
good one.
legend. Local legend.
That is, yeah. I mean, yeah. Artie hates my take on they'll let anybody into the NFL Hall of Fame.
They don't. They don't.
I just feel like there's so many guys in the Hall of Fame that you're like, really, like, should all right?
If they
let me ask you.
That means Eli would have been first ballot.
Let me ask you. There was a lot of talk recently when Luke Kuechly didn't get in. Is Luke Kuechly a Hall of Famer?
Yes, I think he's a no question Hall of Fame. See, because it's not just about longevity. It's about what you did in the span of your career. And Luke Kuechly had a Hall of Fame career while he played. I
think
every single year of his career.
That's the thing. Like, yes, he's got some of the personal accolades. He never got the ring.
No, linebacker's different. You don't need a ring to be a Hall of Fame.
But still, like I feel like to be a Hall of Famer in any sport, you have to have at least one ring.
That to me, the ring stacking is more of an offensive thing when it comes to football.
There in any sport, the rings don't matter. The MLB, sure, you need rings. In the NBA, the way roster constructions happening these days, sure, you might say, get some rings. In the NFL, there are 52 guys on a team. There's no way. The way that the talent is spread in the NFL, rings don't matter.
You're telling me if Lawrence Taylor never won a ring with the Giants, he's not getting to the Hall of Fame? Reggie White never wins a ring. He's not getting.
So you're saying Jim Kelly doesn't belong because he couldn't win the ring?
Come on now.
Look. I still stand by. I feel like just anybody is in the Hall.
That's not true. That's just not true.
It just seems like every year that they're adding 8-10 guys. Like, I feel like looking at Hall of Fame.
That's a normal number to add per year. And again, if it was
I guess the rosters, it makes sense. The rosters are so much bigger. I guess it does make sense. The rosters are so much bigger, but no, I mean, there's been years where like MLB, nobody gets in the Hall because they don't meet the requirements to get in the Hall.
The MLB's criteria for getting to the Hall is just
one
could
make the argument that the MLB Hall of Fame is the most prestigious Hall of Fame to get into out of the Big Four. It's the most notorious.
Only because they churn through. But also the MLB is on the other end of the spectrum where they churn through so many players at the MLB level that, like, yeah, in terms of percentage wise, the MLB is more prestigious because a lower percentage of players who played in the MLB will ever even be in consideration. But in the NFL, I mean, yeah, on the current Eagles squad, how many Hall of Famers do you think there are on that squad today that just won a championship?
One for sure.
Saquon's on the Hall of Fame trajectory. I would say Brandon Graham is probably on the Hall of Fame trajectory. I can't really think of anybody else.
So we're saying probably 2 off of that one team.
Probably 2, maybe 3.
I think Saquon is going to be a lock.
But if you take any of the
and this Super Bowl goes a long way for me saying that about Saquon.
Right. But also you take a team like the Baltimore Ravens. How many future Hall of Famers do you think are on the Ravens right now?
Keaton Mitchell.
That was the right answer.
The only luck.
No, I feel like the Ravens probably got an argument for maybe 4 or 5 that are on that trajectory.
Yeah. Right. Like, so it's like if you use that criteria, you're.
So let me ask you. Let me put it to y'all this way. I mean, I know he's made comments on social media about it in the past. Should Chris Johnson be in the NFL Hall of Fame?
Absolutely.
You guys think he did enough?
I think.
How many Pro Bowls did he have?
I want to say 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did enough. I don't know if CJ2K did enough. He's right there on the cusp.
Doesn't he still have the record for most all-purpose yards in an NFL season?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he had one of the greatest single seasons anybody could have in the NFL.
But I want to say, I mean, he only had 3 or 4 great. He had the one great season. He had 3 really good seasons, and then that was it. There wasn't anything else to really back that up outside of that. I just don't know if he did enough.
Well, if you look at it though, those 3 seasons were his first 3 seasons,
right,
in the NFL, and so at that point, it's okay. He was on that trajectory, much like I would say Todd Gurley, his 5. But what else happened around him on the team that made it to where the career, the end of the career didn't look like the beginning of the career, and at his highest point, at his highest point, because if you look at Sterling Sharp this year, Sterling Sharp gets in, but an injury ended his career before he really was able to really take off that too.
Yeah, so, really take off.
That's
what you said. I think CJ2K right on the cusp. I wouldn't be mad if he got in, but I don't know.
Already hate CJ2K. That you heard it here first. Friend of the podcast. Artie's first enemy of the podcast. I'm gonna have to text him and be like, "Look, my co-host doesn't like you, dude."
I love Chris Johnson.
Yo, 2K. Can I call him 2K? You think he'd get mad at that?
I don't know. You said you're gonna text him. Why don't you text him? Text him and find out.
I'll text him. I'll be like, "Yo, what's up, 2K?" He's gonna be like, "Man, who the fuck is this?" Oh, all right. Where were we? Around ECU athletics. So we're gonna talk some basketball. I think are we starting with the men's, or we're starting with women's? Look, what was it? Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Just an all-around day as the notes here. B2A, belt to ass, as the kids say. Artie, against Charlotte. We let Charlotte know who was daddy. Look, they got us in football the last 2 years, but you're still a little bro.
Took care of business as we should in men's and women's. We're gonna get that lick back in football too. Just wait on it. But took care of business on Saturday.
Next year is going to be. I think that's a win. That's a locked win next year.
Well, this year was supposed to be a locked win.
It should have been.
We saw that. I saw that way.
You don't have bench press and bicep curl Mike at the helm. I swear that's the only 2 workouts that man knows.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. No, he didn't skip arm day. Maybe leg day. No. He didn't skip arm day.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, he was big up top. That's for sure. But anyways, yeah, ECU took care of business against Charlotte at home for the women's team on Saturday, and then on the road in Howden Arena. I think that's what they call it down there at UNCC. Then ECU men turned around last night, lost by 5. Look, that game, it looked like it was going to get out of hand early.
Yeah.
And ECU came back and made it a tight game. And to lose by 5 and on the road like that, yes, you don't want to lose any game, but you ended up getting a lot closer than I think a lot of people thought earlier in the game last night.
Mm-hmm.
So, Josh, any thoughts on basketball right now?
Just that women's basketball team, if we had a different draw on these Final Four opponents, would definitely have a shot at really making a run here at the end. These final few opponents, I mean, we're playing the top 3 teams in the league and the worst team in the league to finish out the season. So it's kind of it's a tough draw to really prove and show what this team is at this point. But I'm looking forward to at least some competitive games to close out the season. On the men's side, a 3-game win streak that includes who is it? That includes Tulane, FAU, and Charlotte to finish out the year. If we lose the UTSA, that's fine. That we could still end up being in fourth place if everything shakes out well on the men's side. That would be unbelievable. There are great things that are possible with these basketball teams that did not look like were possible earlier. And I'm looking forward to seeing these last couple of weeks.
Look, the American Athletic Conference this year is not a good basketball conference by any means. I mean, when you have Wichita State, they beat Memphis. I guess what was that, Saturday or Sunday? Beat Memphis, who top 15 team in the country. I mean, you're talking about. I mean, transitive wins. Transitive wins are a thing, y'all. I am a firm believer. If you've listened to this podcast for the last 5 years, you know that Jared Shafford is a firm believer in transitive wins.
Yes, he is.
Technically, the net confirms that transitive wins are a thing.
It does. Yeah. Net and RPI. They both, they factor those in. So I haven't checked the net in forever for ECU. Josh, can you pull that real quick?
Yeah.
Where's our net at? Like it. Should we take guesses? I'm gonna say 137.
137 is your guess. Hardy, do you have a guess?
130, 138.
Unfortunately, you both are just a little too high. Just a little. I won't say way. I won't say way. Tulane is actually at 153. 138 would be Davidson. And what number did you say, Jared?
I said 137.
137. That'd be Northern Colorado. NC State is 132. East Carolina sits at 165.
I almost led with like a 150. I was like, oh man, maybe I was trying to give us the benefit of the doubt at least a little bit.
Yeah. App State is at 134. UNCW is at 109.
UNCW's having a pretty good year.
They are 19-6.
There's a lot of good basketball being played in this state. As long as
they played in Greenville.
I mean, one could say there's better basketball being played in Greenville than there is in Raleigh.
Well, no, that's definitely it. Yeah. The way State got blown out yesterday. My goodness.
You want to talk about a dumpster fire. Kevin Keats and NC State sold their soul to.
I'll say for one Final Four appearance, so they're not getting back another 50 years. So hope they enjoyed it.
So, all right, let's talk some baseball. baseball starts the season 2-2, dropping the opening game against George Mason. Look, this is a very young team, and I saw some people like freaking out. This is a very young team. People forget just 3 years ago, this team got swept at home against Bryant. Hey, don't forget that.
Yep.
This is a young team. Young pitching, young batters. Like, this is a young team. Like, really young. Okay, we're talking, what, about 50% of your starting lineup as freshmen? So, it's going to take some time, some adjustment. What I'm going to say, don't fret it right now. Look, we may not host a regional. We may not host, if we don't host a regional, we're probably not hosting a super anyways, but I'm not saying that this is the 2022 season. But if they can figure out the hitting, and if they can figure out how to be a little more patient at the plate, this team, the pitching is there.
Right.
I'm not worried at all in the slightest about the pitching. And last week we talked about, is there pop in these bats? I think they showed us this past weekend that there was. Granted, it seemed like the wind was blowing out, at least on I guess Saturday. All the schedule changes are messing with me. But the pop was there. I don't have the numbers in front of me on how many home runs we hit, but it felt like we hit a ton of them. Now ECU did only have 2 hits against Campbell. So when they're not they're not hitting, they're not hitting. But when they are hitting, they're popping it.
Yeah.
So you lost to Campbell. Look, Campbell's beat us 5 straight. It's not great, but we've been here before. It's not like it's crazy that Campbell beat us. This is a young team. There's time. We got a long season ahead of us. Don't throw in the towel 4 games into the season. Just don't.
That's just absurd to me. Don't you love when people freak out after the first opening weekend? Everything is going to hell. It's all this shit. Pack it in. We're gonna be okay. We're sitting 2-2. It's not ideal. We still won the opening series. All the game outside of the first game, every game was competitive, right? It's a 1-score game. Obviously, you want the hitting to get there, but like you said, the bullpen's fine. The pitching's going to be fine. This is a young team. They're going to get it right. Like, the earth is not falling. The sky is not falling. We're going to be okay.
Look, and you look around the country, a lot of good teams lost week 1. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night in the sport of baseball. Some nights you have it, some nights you don't. The better teams, yes, they have it more nights than they don't. But it's not uncommon. And, I mean, we saw plenty of top 10, top 15 teams lose a game in the opening weekend to teams that they shouldn't even consider losing games to. There's plenty of time to figure it out. One thing to call out, Cliff Godwin moves to the dugout. Not going to be at third base this year. He said this team needs the leader in the dugout. So they're a young team. They need him leading from the dugout with them, right? Not at third base. So Coach Palumbo will be manning the third base coach's box. Jesus, Jared. This year. Josh, Artie, thoughts on that?
I think that it's a good idea for the head man, the seasoned vet guy, to just be with the young ones. I mean, I think that honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, a lot of people wouldn't have thought of that. A lot of people would have just chalked it up to they need to grow up and I need to do my job. They need to grow up. I need to do my job kind of thing. And make it that kind of thing. But I think that signals to me that this team there's an understanding that this team and the talent this team has can still go somewhere, regardless of anything else that's happening. And they just need the right hand, the right guidance, the right words of wisdom, the right coaching moment at all times to be able to overcome any of the deficit that age may have. So,
yeah. And the fact that he did it in the first game of the season, I like that he realized it early and he made an adjustment. Something that bicep and bench press Mike could never figure out. Make adjustments.
I do want to.
Sorry, Mike Houston, you're just getting a bunch of ricochet
just taking shots, man. Just unnecessary shots, but man, he's not even here no more. He's gone.
He's still eating on ECU's dime while working for free at Clemson.
So I want to ask you guys a little trivia question. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6 teams from the state of North Carolina who currently rank in the top 25, as in tied for 23rd or better, in home runs on the season so far. Can you name any of them from the state of North Carolina? Again, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I feel like High Point's on there.
Okay, I'll let you say High Point is there. Can you guess where High Point is?
Home run wise
on the season. Five games for them. 5 games for them. 4 for most of the others.
Let's fucking go. USA.
Can you guess where they are?
I'm gonna say they got 7.
7 is how many NC State has, and they're tied for 23rd. High Point.
Are you talking about in the state?
No, I'm saying like teams from the state of North Carolina.
Oh, the way you worded it said. The way you worded it made me think that you were talking about like the top 7 teams in the state. Sorry. Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, these are the top 6 teams in the state in terms of home runs.
Gotcha.
Now he's asking how many.
These 6 are in the top 25 in the country.
You're asking me. I feel like High Point.
They're in the top 25 in the country. So you just tell me where they are.
What were the rankings that I get to choose from?
Anywhere in the top 25.
I'm gonna say 20.
Number 1, 14 home runs.
I
in the country.
I knew that was a trick question.
14 home runs so far in 5 games. Wow. Number 1 in the country, tied with Southeastern Louisiana.
I mean, obviously, that's got to calm down. You can't sustain that. That's
okay. But at number 3 is 12 with Tennessee. Do you think they're going to calm down? Do you think Duke, who has 9, App State, who has 9, Gardner-Webb, who has 9, do you think any of those are going to calm down?
Well, those are more consistent than 14. 14 is absurd. That's absurd. I think that's going to calm down.
NC State has 7. Wake Forest has 8.
How many do we have?
We're not in the top 50.
I
don't know why it felt like we hit more home runs than that.
Oh, we are. We're tied for 50. Sorry, we have 5. Tied
5
for top 50.
If you asked me to like take a guess on how many we'd hit, I would have said 6.
That's fair.
But okay. No, I knew High Point absolutely popped off this weekend. Speaking of which, did y'all see that game between William and Mary in Rhode Island?
Did not, but Rhode Island has 9 home runs.
Rhode Island beat William and Mary 36-22. Absolutely insane.
36-22.
Yeah, and they beat them. They beat them 36-22 and run rolled William and Mary after they put up 22 runs.
22 in a baseball game and still lose by 14. Like, come on. Come on. What?
That's a football score. That's
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, I was like, oh,
Wow.
Rhode Island and William and Mary, you're playing basketball. It's pretty good first half.
Wow. 26.
36-22, and they got run ruled after putting up when they put up 22 runs. They got run ruled.
Outfield is trash. Just boo boo. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yep. That's yeah. In case y'all didn't know this, ECU baseball, their game Friday, tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this, today or yesterday, depending on when you're listening to this. Friday's game moved to Monday. So the Friday game in Greenville has been moved to Monday due to the inclement weather. The series will kick off on Saturday in the Durham Bulls Athletic Park. DBAP, ECU Carolina. Look, a lot of these schools, like Carolina, they look good this past weekend. They didn't look unbeatable. Duke, you talk about Duke. Duke lost the series to Cincinnati this past weekend. Like, Cincinnati's not world beaters at all.
Mm.
And Duke lost a home series to them to start the season. So it could be worse, y'all. It could absolutely be worse. But talking about Saturday's game, we got some tickets to give away. Let's see here. I'm just gonna scroll to see like who won.
Hope you're listening.
If you're not listening, we'll DM you. All right. Number 1, Josh, write these down.
Got you.
We're going Corey Grady.
Congrats, Corey.
Number 2, Kyle Gamble.
Okay. Kyle.
All righty.
And then lastly, I'm making sure this guy follows. He does.
I gotta make sure he follows.
Well, I also want to make sure he wasn't a closet like UNC fan. We're gonna go Matthew Cope. Those are the winners.
Corey, Kyle, Matthew. Congrats.
Congrats, fellas.
We'll be DMing y'all and getting your information so that way we can send you each 2 tickets to ECU UNC at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park on Saturday. All right. ECU football, last spring football game ever. Is this about the Texas thing?
It was Nebraska first. Nebraska said it like 3 weeks ago. Everybody's hopping on board.
I must have missed that.
Yes. Matt Rule said this. Matt Rule literally said that, but he feels like last off season, because their spring game was on TV so much that people were just seeing his talent over and over and over again, and it kept reinforcing everybody that was reaching out to the players, telling them to hop in the portal. And honestly,
I mean, but if everybody's doing it, like
everybody's doing it,
everybody got a spring game.
Yeah. But honestly, I understand. Like if I'm an ECU and I see UNC spring game and I see that there's a guy that's not really on the depth chart who looks like he has potential and UNC is just not giving it to him.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean, I understand. So Texas has joined. USC has announced that they won't have a spring game. ECU's already announced our spring game, and we've already announced the pigskin pick-off to go with it. Is this the last one?
Yeah, but ECU spring game, is it really televised outside of like maybe local?
No.
It's on,
So
don't they put stuff on ESPN Plus sometimes?
I think they have it on ESPN Plus, but the other thing about it is even if it's not, the fact that it's open to the public.
Yeah.
true.
Now, I know that there was last year, I remember there was some talk about somebody like live streaming the spring game from the stands when they had asked people not to.
Yes.
And I knew that I don't think anything ever really came of it, but I know that there was some talks in the athletic department about, hey, like this is not good. Like we can't have people recording. But once again, I think things are. I don't know. The spring game's just it's a staple. And here's my thing: if you can't retain your players, then like they already had a foot out the door anyways.
I will say at programs like Nebraska, I think you have a little bit more to worry about than a spring game if people are trying to steal your players from a spring game. Like you've been trying to get right for the last 20 years. Like it's more than just a spring game debacle. So
I mean, Sarkisian canceled theirs at Texas. So I mean,
the players. I mean, look, it's Texas. It don't get much bigger than Texas. If you leave in Texas because you're just not good enough to start or not good enough to get on the roster, it's Texas. You're not leaving Texas. So,
but at Texas, if you look at that running back room from this past year, Wisner could have easily just said pack it in and go somewhere else.
No.
But being fourth on the depth chart ended up being his saving grace to let him, be ready for the stage at the end of the year when his name was called. So honestly, I mean, I see both sides. I do see both sides. I also remember what many are forgetting, which is the Wake Forest debacle of a media member or a staff member, whatever it was. Can't remember which one. I think it was like the PA announcer or something like that, sharing the plays with opposing teams. Like that debacle that happened, right?
What wasn't it that
and
somebody
remember,
left a playbook in a
trash can?
Yeah. But it wasn't like I thought it came out that they did that on purpose.
No. So it was bigger because Shane Beamer had some ties to it when he was at Virginia Tech. It was Army, Louisville, and Virginia Tech that were the three teams that performed way better than they should have against Wake Forest, and they all ended up having connections after the investigation was over to getting plays from. I think he was the PA announcer, but it was because Clawson had an open policy at practices for all their media. Which I mean, there's some back and forth there as to how much availability do you give the media. So
at ECU, it's very limited as to when the media is available during practice.
Right.
And look, last year the spring game was a little bit different. Last year you had two new shiny quarterbacks and a shiny new toy as the offensive coordinator that they wanted to show you, hey, we're gonna do some crazy stuff this year. And they did that in the spring game. And I think this year, like, the shine is kind of worn off. Like, okay, we know what we're going to get from Caden Hauser. Now you got some new weapons on offense. People are going to be looking at the defense this year too, like with how much turnover there's been this year already on the defensive side of the ball. It'll be interesting to see, but also to see how Coach Harrell, the new head coach, runs his scrimmage. Look, I'm a fan of spring games. I wish we had more of them. I wish we could do more with it, right? I know we have the spring game and then you have fall media day, and I wish they would do more with the open practices for the fans. I think it's important, but you shouldn't be showing anything that's like earth shattering in a spring game, anyways.
At all. Like it should be the most basic, bare minimum. We just out here putting on a little show for the fans. You're not actually giving what your actual play calls you're going to call week 1 or whatever. No.
I agree. But see, my proposal is to just move the bowl games till after the spring semester begins and put it at the end of the school year to kick off the summer. We want spring football so bad. Why not? Why not?
Wait.
Why
not?
Move
the bowl games?
Move the bowl games.
Absolutely no.
Move the bowl games to the month of April.
Josh, have you lost your mind?
Games? No. Listen,
what are you guys doing from the beginning of December until April?
It's the bowl game is a reward for last season, but it's also the reward of you joining this team for next season. It's the preamp.
We're playing a random ass bowl game in April, and we just go back to spring ball.
No. You play the bowl game after spring ball when you've got all your new toys from all your freshmen, basically from the recruiting class are now here, right? But also the guys who win the draft, they're gone. Your stars are gone. These are the bones of your team for next year, guys. And then you open up the transfer portal.
Josh, this might be the dumbest thing you've ever
said. Then you open the transfer portal after that. And then it becomes true free agency. It becomes true free agency. Josh. And then if you only have that one portal entry,
listen to yourself.
After the bowl games, after spring, right? Bowl games do matter again. Bowl games do matter, and here's the thing.
And if you do that, you don't get the Rajay Harris.
It's a bowl game that we're playing after the previous season.
Here's the thing.
Going into the next season,
you can still have the Rajay Harris moment if Rajay elects to play the bowl game.
I'm not.
He ain't doing that.
I'm not following.
Here's the thing. You get rid of the opt-outs. You're not opting out. You declare for the draft. You're not opting out. You're just going to the next level. That's fine.
Yeah, but
that's fine. Let's start next year. You're
looking at this like right around like April. You're looking at like running into the draft. These guys are getting drafted. They've got contracts.
No. You do it right after the draft, right? That's what I'm saying. Once you declare for the draft, that's your opt out of the bowl game, right? There's no more opting out of the bowl game for the transfer portal.
So basically, most of the guys, or like the team captains or the leader of the teams that really helped you win those 9-10 games the previous season are not going to be playing in this bowl game. They helped the team get into that bowl game. So now I'm just seeing a bunch of random ass freshmen and sophomores play a bowl game they didn't actually deserve. They're just coming in, playing this bowl game, and the season's been over for 4 months. What do I care about this bowl game at this point? I don't give a damn about the Boca Raton Bowl in April. I don't care. I don't care.
Everybody gets another vacation.
So, somebody in the comments just asked what you're smoking, Josh.
Hey, all I'm saying is that we're about to let we're about to let the SEC and the Big Ten reshape all of college football.
That's going to happen anyway.
We aren't throwing anything else at them.
The SEC and the Big Ten are going to get what they want anyway. We don't have a choice. It doesn't matter what we do.
But nobody's standing up to them. Nobody's standing up. No one's giving any other ideas.
What just happened?
I don't know. Like half my desk just fell apart.
No, Jared, no.
What the fuck is going on?
The desk didn't like Josh's idea either. That's all.
Yeah, no, the idea was terrible.
It was earth-shattering.
I think I like where your head's at, Josh. I don't like the execution.
It was earth-shattering, though. It was
now, what I would go for is like some kind of spring showcase with and it's not going to be 100%, but like you know how they do the like the summer like combined workouts in the NFL. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that where maybe you line them up with another team from your state, and it's not like it doesn't matter. The game doesn't matter, but hey, let's run a real scrimmage.
Yeah, what if you just call it a bowl game? Get you a sponsor. Like you don't here's what I'm saying. We don't have to keep it as the idea that a bowl game is what a bowl game currently represents. The bowl game as itself can transform into something new, and that be the entire basis of you just saw ECU versus NC State have a successful bowl game.
It's not a bowl game. What is it,
Josh?
No.
I just saw that our live viewers spiked. I think it's because everybody's sending this to their friends saying this is the dumbest thing anybody's ever said online.
That's great. Views are views for the positive reasons. But what I'm saying is that if you just ask the sponsors, hey guys, how about you just sponsor the local teams, right, to have a scrimmage together, because that's what the bowl games are becoming anyways. And if you have players who want to participate, who are bowl eligible, they can still participate. That's fine. But we're going to have it after the draft. We're going to let the NFL have their time, see where everybody lands, right? And before undrafted free agency truly begins, you have a week worth of inter-squad scrimmages. Give them a sponsor, pump the money, call it a bowl game, right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I still think that you should play the bowl games because they're about the only thing that makes the holidays tolerable when you're having to spend time with family. Give me the bowl games. But yeah, like play another team close by. Yes, Justin, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like imagine, all right, let me set the stage. We're gonna play in the Speedies, Parkers, Carolina Barbecue Bowl, East Carolina, Wake Forest. Like, look, Speedies is my spot. Already knows. Mm-hmm. That's the bowl. That's your spring scrimmage.
I'm okay with the inter squad scrimmage, spring scrimmage, kind of like you do in the NFL. I'm all for that. Don't put the bowl label on there. None of that bull. Just
but no, I do like the idea of putting some kind of sponsor on it, make some money.
Yeah,
you just have to go for practice. So it's not an actual game. You're not playing.
Right. And that's the thing.
But treat it like a game.
Treat it like a game. And there should be certain parameters or certain rules that you can kind of go off of. Say, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. Quarterbacks are safe, kind of thing. Like make it a thing where it's like, okay, people want football, give them football. The players need something to show before the only transfer portal window opens. Once we change that system and we only have one portal window in the summer, give them something to actually do, right? And let's just make it clean. Let's just make it clean. That's all I'm asking for.
What's the most obscure like scrimmage that you could come up with? You can't be in the same conference as scrimmage.
No.
So like a
has to be within 75 miles.
I was gonna say 100.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say more, but like, I mean, you get to like Wyoming and you only have Colorado State at that point, but or Colorado, so it's Air Force.
Wyoming's just out there, like.
I mean, you get Oregon State and you don't have anybody in the 100 miles, but.
I'm trying to think of like a random ass matchup we could get that like schools that are close to each other but they don't play often. Like a I don't know. I keep going to like Tulsa. Like what's out there in Oklahoma?
Tulsa versus Kansas State.
I feel like don't they play soon? I feel like they have a.
I mean, they might, but here's the thing. With this whole thing of all the new things that might be coming, that non-conference stuff, all those contracts. We need somewhere to still have these kind of games.
On a complete tangent. Completely going off the rails.
I mean, yeah, but I'm talking about like even more obscure than that. Like all right, we've got ULM versus is Delta State within 100 miles?
But that's FCS.
Why does anybody care about this?
You're gonna have teams playing FCS teams. You're gonna have it.
I'm just saying.
Like Wyoming's probably playing an FCS team. Like, give me Boise and Idaho playing each other in a scrimmage.
That's fair.
Just saying. All right.
Idaho Famous Potato Bowl, right?
About Boise State versus Idaho in the damn April scrimmage game, bro. What are we doing here?
And we call it the Idaho Famous Potato Bowl. That's all I'm saying.
What are we doing?
Like, yeah, I mean, I like the idea. I think we can workshop it some more. We'll pass it on to the NCAA.
That sounds right.
I'm going to text Coach Harrell and be like, yo, Coach, I got an idea for you. Let's change the game. Sponsored by none other than himself, 2K. All right. What else we got? We just got Walk the Plank next.
Walk the Plank.
Already, Josh, tell me. We talked about this quite a bit in the group chat.
Uh-huh.
And we don't have to have the same conversation we had in the group chat. Look, I will admit that I maybe came on too strong in the group chat. But to me, the NBA still sucks.
You hate the NBA though. Like
the NBA sucks.
You're not willing to give it a chance.
I won't give it a chance.
Right.
The NBA can't win me over. They absolutely cannot win me over. And so that's why I was wanting to dance on their grave after USA Canada, which right now I'm watching USA Canada on my side screen.
Yeah.
Tied up 2-2, 2 minutes left in the second period. Mm-hmm. I mean, this has been electric. Like the NBA All-Star game, like I know Wemby went down with his, what was it? Blood infection, a blood infection or something like that.
Yeah, it was blood clots. Which that's serious.
Yeah, well, yeah, that happened to a Hurricanes goaltender last year, Freddie Anderson. But the show that he and was it Chris Paul put on in the skills competition, that's why nobody takes it seriously. None of it was taken seriously. I don't know.
Well, All-Star Weekend aside, NBA All-Star Weekend, it's an absolute joke. As someone who does enjoy the NBA, who grew up loving the NBA, who grew up watching really good All-Star games when Kobe and LeBron was young, and Shaq and all them guys, it's complete trash. Nobody takes the game serious. I don't like the format that they've used.
Those guys took it seriously.
Like, honestly, really, if you're being honest, you can really get rid of the All-Star game and just revolve it around Saturday night, NBA Saturday night, and really revitalize the three-point shooting contest, the dunk contest, the skills challenge, the rising stars. That really could be All-Star Weekend by itself and actually get some of these guys to be competitive in the dunk contest, because I want to see an Anthony Edwards, a John Morant, a Zion Williamson, guys that I actually care about that do in-game dunks that are better than what I'm seeing in the dunk contest to actually compete.
Did Ja pull out a Glock for his?
I have a thing. I have a question, right? So I watch NASCAR, so I see some of a little more gimmicky type ways that we do playoff things. What if we link All-Star Weekend to the playoffs? Like, if you have stars on your team and the NBA offers them a slot, if you accept, you get something towards the playoffs. Like if you start losing and you end up only registering for the play-in game. Like you only have to win one play-in game instead of two. Like you get an automatic advance to the second round of the play-in kind of thing. Like you have to do something to incentivize the teams and the players to allow themselves to be willing to do it. Because at this point, it goes along with the whole load management thing that everybody hates. It's like
load management
no
is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I think it just speaks to a bigger issue in the NBA as a whole. I think you have a younger generation of guys that are getting their bag, they're getting their money, and they only want to show up when it suits them, right? They're not actually understanding that you have an obligation. This is your job. You got to show up, even when you're a little sick, even when you're a little tired, even when you're a little hurt. We all got to still show up to work and do our job. You have people out here paying their hard-earned money, right? They got off on a Wednesday night. They've been working 10-hour shifts at the hospital. They're coming to see you play. They're taking their kid to this basketball game. They think you're going to play. And then 20 minutes before the game, no, I'm not going to show up, AKA Kawhi Leonard. That's the problem, I think, with the NBA. It's not just the All-Star game. You could do away with the All-Star game. To me, that's just a crock of shit at this point. But it's a bigger issue in the NBA that's going on where this completely new generation is not actually doing what they should be doing to uplift the game. So
that was the point. The conversation was all started by the conversation PK Subban had. I believe it was on maybe Get Up.
Yeah,
where that's what he was talking about, right? Like the NHL, you have leaders. The old heads are still there to lead, but the new guys understand what it takes. If you're going to be one of the superstars in the league, and I agree with others in the group chat, like, no, the NHL is not on the same level as the NBA, but at least those young guys in the NHL know, hey, I've got to put on a show every single night. My job is about being there and pushing every single night because this is a hardworking job, right? We carry our lunch pail to work every single day here in the NHL. The NBA, they're eating caviar on the bench. Like, to me, it's the NBA's soft. It's just soft. And you're not going to change my mind on it.
I think they're going to pivot. I think they're going to realize what's going on. If they're smart, they're going to pivot. And they're going to, I think the world of player empowerment is going to dial back a little bit in the NBA. I mean, you just saw Luka Doncic get traded, right? So Luke is on the chopping block. Anybody's on the chopping block. I think you're going to start to see that dial back. I think the NBA is going to pivot and start demanding and forcing these players to do maybe some things they don't want to do. But, towards the All-Star game, I think you can get rid of the All-Star game and just do NBA Saturday night, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still not going to watch, but I saw people tuning into the hockey on Saturday night because it was different and everybody was talking about it. Now, will those people come back to hockey? Hopefully. Maybe not.
It at least started a conversation. It
opened people's eyes
in hockey, that haven't usually watched it.
When they're like, oh, like, this is strange. Wait, you mean to tell me these are the best players in the world fighting in a game that doesn't matter 3 times in the first 9 seconds? To me, it's like, okay, these guys get it. They know it doesn't matter whether it's an all-star game or what. They're putting their body on the line for it every single play. Now, in traditional NHL all-star games, they play 3-on-3 overtime rules. They don't do the golden goal rule that NHL overtime has, but they do 3-on-3 like NHL overtime, and it's tough to watch. And this has been good. And the NHL's already said in 2 years they want to bring this back. Or I believe it's going to be 2027. They basically want it to be every other year you have an international tournament. So I think it'll be All-Star game next year. No, Olympics next year, and then 2 years after that, it'll be back to this with an All-Star game the year in between. So that way you're getting best on best for your country, which is there's no better hockey than best on best, like for your country. That's the best that there is. And they're talking about even taking games to Europe for this tournament. It's going to be interesting. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk shit on the NBA as much as I could. I do have one other walk the plank. So the other day, I a little humble brag. I'm back in the gym. I'm getting right for Artie's wedding. I gotta look good up there, and I look up at the TV as I'm on the stationary bike, and I'm looking at the TV, and I realize, hey, UAB in North Texas is playing, and it's a pretty tight game. Josh, did you see this game? Did you see any clips from this game?
From who? North Texas UAB?
Was it? I believe it was North Texas UAB.
No.
All right. Anyways, it was at UAB. The jersey combinations in this game, it was like dark gray on dark green. And it looked terrible. You couldn't tell who was who. I thought the whole time the dark green was UAB. Turns out dark gray was UAB. I was thinking the whole time that I was looking at UAB, but I was looking at North Texas. And they clashed. Like you almost couldn't tell who was who if you're like not watching right on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm all for like trying different things when it comes to jerseys.
Sometimes you do a little too much.
Like if I should have probably pulled up a picture of it, but it was not good. Josh, I don't know if you can find one from that game. It was the Sunday game. I guess it was. So like that's gray. It's not white.
That green definitely looks like the green that's on the court, and therefore the team that should be wearing that color.
Yeah.
Yeah, UAB should be in green, but that's not UAB. Yeah.
But also, can we talk about how in basketball the home team wears light colors? I don't agree with that.
That's what you do in baseball.
Yeah, but baseball there's more leeway. There's more leeway with the combination. Like you're not going to see green top, white bottom in basketball. Like it has to be the same.
It used to be that way in the NHL. You used to wear your whites at home and your darks on the road, and it had something to do with. I know in the past in the NHL it had something to do with traveling and having to like wash the jerseys and uniforms, because if you got a darker uniform, like say you got blood on it, it didn't show up as bad if it didn't come out in the wash. Now, of course, the wash is better, but I think that was part of the reason why the NHL used to have that. The more you know.
Learn something every day.
All right. I don't have anything. I got it off my chest. I thought that color combination was terrible. I don't know. I didn't know what I was looking at the gym. All right. Make sure you subscribe to the Boneyard Podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, wherever. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Boneyard Podcast. And then follow us on social media at Boneyard Podcast on X, the Everything app, and the and Instagram. Follow us there, and then also at the Boneyard Podcast on TikTok. And then lastly, leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. If you don't do that, Artemis, what can they do?
Damn plank.
Damn right. Walk the damn plank. That's all I got. Let's go USA. USA hockey's do or die.
2-2 game right now, third quarter, third period about to start. But you know what it is, Power Nations, and always, it's always been a pleasure. Wash your hands, wash your butts. We out. Deuce.